jewelry making friends, my name is Joey Balestrieri. Welcome to my work table and my channel. I am so excited because what you see on my beading mat is my preparation for my summer soiree with my jewelry making friends. They will be here on Saturday this week, and one of my friends, well, a couple of them actually, saw the video that I did on the totem necklace with, in particular, one section of this totem necklace was a cube bead that was herringbone wrapped, and she loved it, and she requested that that be our project for this summer soiree. We get together, I think this time there's going to be 9 of us. It's the Central Florida ladies, and we meet at bead shows. We get together to do projects. We go to lunch. This time it's at my house, and I'm going to do a charcuterie board and have some chilled Prosecco, and everyone's going to bring something, some sweets, some chips and dip, and we're all going to gather around and we're going to learn to do the herringbone wrap. So I am preparing my projects for the ladies, and I decided to get out some cane glass. So for those of you who don't know what cane glass is, it's very odd shaped. They're all different sizes. Like this is a round piece, but I think for people that are new at this, I think the cube shape is going to be much easier, because when you lay your wire down the side of a cube bead, you don't have such a difficult time holding on to it while you do the wrapping. So I think I'm going to share cube beads with them, and I actually, at our bead time that was closing, I got 2 strands of these crystal cube beads in 2 different colors for them to work with, and a whole bag of cane glass in all different sizes. So I started thinking, what can I share with them of what they can do once they've learned to do the herringbone wrap? And I decided to put the herringbone wrap right onto a memory wire bracelet. So this is my first little sample bracelet, and I'm going to do another one with you, but look how gorgeous that is. And it is simply seed beads, a couple of tube beads from Purity Beads, so it has brass with an anti-tarnish coating, a cane glass bead, and it's a little bit irregular, they all are, but the herringbone wrap on this, let me put my hand behind, just turned out beautifully. And then I took a cylinder cane glass bead and did this little pendant. So I wanted to show the ladies that they can do all different sizes. Once they learn this herringbone wrap, there are all kinds of applications. So a pendant here with only one, a bail at the top, it can go right onto a bracelet. And then this is one of my existing videos. You can make components where you have a link at the top and the bottom. And really, once you do this wrap, you can do it on a round bead, a cube bead, really you can do it on anything. And what you're looking at here is 20 gauge wire. Sometimes I'll do 22 gauge wire, sometimes even 24. I did 24 gauge wire for this particular piece. And so it just depends on the look you want. If you want to have a chunkier look to your herringbone, the thicker wire will give you that. I decided to do the thinner wire because I think for my friends who have never done this before, I think wrapping the thinner wire is going to be easier on them. So I have cut a memory wire coil here, and I've overlapped quite a bit because I like to turn 3 loops on my memory wire, with at least 2, but I really like the architecture of the way 3 loops look. So I wanted to leave myself a little bit of nice overlap and a little bit of space, and I'm going to be using a little bit bigger beads because I have these beautiful mermaid glass beads from Dee Dee's Beads, and I picked these up at our shop that was closing, these gorgeous yellow mermaid glass. Look at the flash in these beads. So I'm not going to be using a lot of them, but I think I'm going to do a pink and yellow bracelet and a little bit of orange, because I want to do this that's a tongue twister, cane glass cube, and it does have a little bit of orange in it. And so I just pulled some seed beads from my stash in pink and orange. They look absolutely great with those beads. But I'm going to start off by getting my herringbone bead wrapped right onto the bracelet. So I love my Soft Flex craft wire. This is gold wire and it's silver plated and it has an anti-tarnish coating, and it is just a really, really great wire. I love it. And so, as I said, you can use 20 gauge, 22 gauge. I am using 24 gauge for this. That's what I did here. It's very easy to wrap 24 gauge. If you've never done this before, that might be helpful for you. And so before I do anything, you could string your bead on, but before I do anything, I am just going to take, I have about 20 inches here, which may or may not be too much. It really depends. When I was doing this one, I just kept going. As much space, if you were doing this wrap on a bead that has some space down the side, a cube or, you know, a really thick profiled bead, then having extra inches of your wire is, you can just keep going and make a very, very dramatic herringbone. And so I did take a little bit extra. And then on this one, I wanted to use up every single bit of my wire. So I did my herringbone wrap, and then I continued to wrap and just make coils up my core wire. And then I made my bail, and then I wrapped with the leftover wire back down again. I just went behind my bead and continued to coil around my core wire. And when I was at the end, I took my round nose pliers and just made a little snail, a little spiral with the you know, the tail of wire. So I could have made it a double connector, but I decided to make this one a pendant and just do something decorative with my leftover wire. So all that being said, extra wire is a great thing because it gives you choices when you're designing, and you know, you'll see when you're wrapping. So the best way to start this is just leave yourself a little bit of a tail here and just get a couple of turns around your memory wire. Now, memory wire is a stainless steel cable basically, and so it's a great thing to do this on because you can put a little pressure on it and it's not going to bend. And I don't want to get this too you know, I don't want to go too far with my wraps, but it's going to be a little loose at first. Every time I have done this, they're going to be a little loose. I'm just going to try to, you can use your fingernail, you can use your pliers, just like get those three close to each other. Just tighten them. That's going to be the beginning. So I just want to make sure they're nice and neat before I do anything else, but I don't want to mar my wire. And I apologize for the, you know, the camera when you're filming your work is between your eyes and your hands. And, you know, sometimes it's really difficult, especially with all this wire. And so I apologize for it being out of control, but I really didn't want to do a short piece of wires. So we'll have to deal with it till I get some wraps in. And so, as I said, this is not totally secure, but I got a few wraps around my memory wire, and I'm just going to make sure I'm cutting the right wire. Just get rid of that little bit, and then I just kind of chase the smaller wire, the thinner wire around, and you know, just try to secure it. So I'm going to go right about there. I have some, what I'm looking at is my cut ends of my coil of memory wire, because I do want this to be my center bead. So I'm going to go right about there. There's a little bit of adjustability, and these are kind of like bangles, so they're going to go around your wrist anyway, so it's very forgiving. So I'm going to come to this side and thread my little yellow cane glass cube bead right onto the memory wire, and then from here I can just decide what I want to be facing up, and I think I like this side because of the orange stripe, and I'm going to put some orange seed beads in the rest of the bracelet. And then from here you're just gonna, to start off with, it is a little bit to hold on to, but once you get a wrap or two in, it becomes much easier. So I am just going to take this wire, and like I say, there's going to be a little bit to manage. Pull it on this side, and I'm going to pull this down the side of the bead, and I want to direct it kind of toward what is going to be the top or the front, so that I have space behind. You can do a little adjustments, and so I'm going to go really slow. I'm just holding on to it, and I'm going to come to this side, and I'm coming to the front of my memory wire. I'm sorry, you guys, I just glanced in the camera and saw all my beauty. I love seeing it, but I don't want you to not be able to see the herringbone wrap. So I am bringing my fine gauge wire, I'm going to call this the core wire, this thinner wire, to the front. And that's important because every time you wrap, you're going to bring your wire to the front, and you're going to bring it around to the back. Now I want to do a couple of wraps on this end just to match my other end. So I'm not going to let go of this right now. I'm just going to do a couple of wraps because I started with 3 on the other end, so I just want it to match. I'm just going to push that into place, and so already it's easier because I have one wrap done, and I'm just going to take my pliers, and you want your coil, you want your wraps to be really neat. That's important for the final look. So let me get my hand behind and get this tail of wire out so you can see. I've just gone down the side, and now my bead, my wire has been wrapped around, and I'm coming out on top again, and now I'm going to lay this wire down the side of the bead, and here's where I said on top, on the front of your core wire is where we want it to land, and I want to place it right above, my last wrap, and then I'm going to bring it to the back and bring it back around to the front, and just make sure it's lined up. So can you see I'm back on the front again, and now it is just repeat, repeat, repeat. I am going to take this wire, and this time when I go down the side of the bead, I'm going to lay it behind the wire that my first wrap, and hold on to it nice and tight. You can rotate your work, and when I come to this side, I'm going to go on top of my core wire and at the top of the existing wrap, and then bring it to the back of the core wire and back around to the front. And when you do that, you are ready to go down the side again. So now I'm just going to place it behind the wire that's already there, rotate my work, and come around, and again on the front or the top, and on the top of this existing wrap, place it right there, and just push it to the back of the core wire and back around to the front. And if you see that you're getting too much space in between your wraps, there's no rush. Pause and just give it a little push. Mine's pretty good, and also I want to make sure that I keep this nice and smooth, because you see I bent my wire a little bit, and that will affect the way it looks when I wrap down this side. So nylon jaw pliers can be really helpful here, and this is such a soft fine gauge wire. It does not take much, honestly, to keep it straight. And I'm just going to continue in that way, going down the side of my bead behind the wraps that are already there, get a hold of it, come to the front, top, and go behind and back around to the front. It's just one wrap. And just keep going. I'm just going to keep going until either I am out of space on my bead or out of wire, or I'm completely thrilled with the look, whatever comes first. This is so much fun, and I think my one friend who's really interested in learning this, I think I'm going to make a little gift of this for her when we're all done. I had to make a few samples so that everyone could see what we're doing, but I think she's going to be, I saw her today and it was all that I could do not to go ahead and give it to her because I know she's going to love it. So I'm just going to keep going. Pause and have a look. Oh, that is so beautiful. Look how cool that is. So I still have plenty of wire. Let's see if I want to. I think I have space, so I have a little bit more space to lay more wire on the side, and so I think I'm going to keep going. Whoops, turned my work the wrong way. I think I can fit one more and then I will stop. This is so dramatic and beautiful. Okay, this will be my last wrap because I'm out of space. Can you see I'm out of space on the side of my cube? So stop, go around to the front, and here's where you can decide if you want to do coils or something with your scrap wire, but I don't want to have anything that might snag or get caught on anything, so I am going to pull this around to the back and snip it off. Being very careful not to cut one of my wrapped wires. Not to be too fast with those. And then I'm just going to use my nylon jaw pliers to chase that around because it's such a fine gauge wire, just to make sure there's nothing protruding. Now, if you can see what has happened here, because I wrapped so much and I wrapped so tightly, I have pulled my memory wire in, and I think that's going to be okay. That's what happened also on this one, but I did a lot more wraps on this one, a couple more then. So before I continue, let me just try it on. I actually love that because it makes my herringbone sit up nice and tall on my wrist. And that is the cool thing about doing this on memory wire, because it's memory wire. So that is really cool. And then what my plan was for this bracelet was to do a pink mermaid glass bead on each side of this, but I don't know if that's going to be too big. Maybe I'm not going to use those. Maybe I'm just going to do seed beads and the yellow mermaid glass. You know what? Let me go into my mermaid glass stash and see if I have pink in this 6mm. Let me just pause and go shopping in my stash, and I will be right back. So I think what I'm going to do is do 4 of those. Okay, let's see if I'm gonna put a little dot of orange. That is gorgeous. I love that. And then I think what I'm going to do, I have some little gold filled spacer beads, and I think I'm going to add a little dot of gold here. And do I want a dot of gold in between these? I think I want a dot of gold here too. So when I am doing my bead pattern play, for me there's a little bit of on and off until I decide what is the perfect choices. And I love that part of jewelry making. I just love it. Oh yeah, that's much better, much prettier. I love to punctuate my beads with a little dot of gold. I love gold. Whoops, wrong side. Okay, I really love that. And then I'm going to finish my length here with pink seed beads. And maybe, let's see, maybe I am going to add a little bit of gold. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's see, maybe I'll do a little section here of, let's see how it looks. Make like a little bead station where it shifts colors back to the orange. Try one, 2, 3, whoops. Oh yeah, that's so pretty. Can you see? Just made a little like orange section just to tie everything in. And I'm going to finish with the pink. Okay, and from here, I was counting these beads so that I can do the exact same thing, but because of how I have pulled the memory wire coil in with my herringbone, I'm going to put a little clamp on this side before I commit to this and copy my stringing on this side. So I did a gold. These little gold filled spacer beads are an Amazon find, and I really love them. They have a little bit of weight to them, and I've been using them a lot. I hope they don't tarnish. So far they've been really great, and the reviews on them were really great. Okay, I am pretty happy with that. I think that I'm going to have to trim a little bit off of this side, it looks like. Let me grab my ruler and kind of see how close I got to having them the same. So I have like 1 inch there. I need to cut right about there so that when I turn my loops on the end on both sides, they are the same. And for those of you who are new to memory wire, you need a special cutter for memory wire because, as I mentioned earlier, it is stainless steel cable and it will destroy your pliers, your cutters if you use your regular cutters. So you need like memory wire cutters or really junky cutters, and just use these cutters and make that snip. And then I'm going to go back to, what did I do with them? My snub nose pliers. And I am going to use the smallest mandrel on the snub nose pliers. And so I'm just going to get in there, and you can turn your loops any way that you want. I prefer mine going outward. So I am just going to make sure that my end of my memory wire is really in so I don't have a sharp edge, and get a really good grip here and just roll it back. And you'll have to rotate your pliers, and I'm just going to roll as many times as it will allow me to roll right down to my beads. I love the chunkiness of a double or triple loop. And so it is about an inch that gives you a triple loop. And then you can, like, you have a little adjustability. It's very, very, very tough wire, but this one is the smaller size. It's the one that we get in the curated bead box for those of you that get that box. And then I'm just going to come on this side and do the exact same thing. Just make sure all my beads are pushed down. Use that same mandrel and get my little roll started, and just roll all the way down to my beads. That looks great. Oh, I love it. Look how beautifully it turned out. That is stunning. I love this little bracelet, and I love using the herringbone in that way. So my camera battery is very, very low. It's about to shut down. I'm going to clean up my mat and I'll come back and put some charged my phone battery, and I was able to finish my bracelet, turned my loops, and I just kind of straightened them out a little bit. And I realized that I had some space here on this cube bead, so I was able to just gently like pull those wire wraps up and just give my little memory wire bangle a really nice shape. So it turned out great. I really love it. I think it's gorgeous. You can, of course, with these go back and add some charms here, but this was really about the herringbone wrap. So I feel ready for my friends to come and do this little project with me, and I think we're going to have a really fun soiree. I will ask everyone how they feel about me videotaping what we do and our little treats and some of our chat, and if everyone's okay with it, I'll make a video and kind of share with you what we do. And if you're ever in the Orlando area, you can always message me and join our group. And also check my description box. I work really hard on those. Underneath all of my videos, I link anything that I think you might want for your own work, for your convenience, any of my tools. This video was really fun, this totem pendant necklace. I can link that below. And I also put my email, so if you have not sent me pictures of the wildlife around your home, your little furry faced feathered and gilled helpers, I would love to have them. I try to have something sweet to put at the end of my videos, and the community just really loves it. So as I said, I'll put some pictures up at the end, and I hope everyone is safe and well and having fun on your beading mats, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, jewelry making friends.